What are some NSFW history facts that do not get taught in schools? Anne Frank's diary talked a lot about masturbation, but most of it was edited out. I wouldn't want to read that. It'd take me out of main comfort zone. John F. Kennedy was dating Miss Denmark in the 1940s, and when they stayed at Sumter House in Charleston, the FBI bugged their room because they thought she may be a Nazi spy. Turns out they didn't hear a lot of conversation, but instead a lot of NSFW time. Tapes are in the Library of Congress for those interested. French President Félix Faure died getting a blowjob from his mistress. He had a petite mort, followed by a grande mort. He came, then he went. Veiny, Vidi, Veiny. Oscar Dirlewanger, leader of the infamous 36th Waffen Grenadier Division of the SS. Oscar and his men were so vile and evil that even the SS had an ongoing investigation on the group. They children, burn them alive, or feed them still alive to starved dogs. There was a particular massacre of 500 school children that stood out to me. This is an account on that event. After the door of the building was blown off, we saw a daycare full of small children, around 500, all with small hands in the air. Even Dirlewanger's own people called him a butcher. He ordered to kill them all. The shots were fired, but he requested his men to save the ammo and finish them off by rifle butts and bayonets. Blood and brain matter flowed in streams down the stairs. I actually didn't know until recently, but the Corps of Discovery only ate meat and had incredible constipation. One day they all ate pills they named thunderclappers, which made them stuff out everything immediately. But the pills had a bit of metal in them, so if you go out on the same trail as the Corps of Discovery with a metal detector, you can find the exact place Lewis, Clark, and the rest of the Corps took the biggest stuffs of their lives. Thomas Granger was the first juvenile to be executed in what would become the USA. He was convicted of buggery with a mare, a cow, 2 goats, several sheep, 2 calves, and a turkey, and hung in September 1642. In addition to all the other hijinks Columbus got up to, in later years, he ran a slave business from the New World. He remarked in a letter to a friend that 9-year-old girls were a particularly hot item with the nobility of Europe. The Welsh would often go to England to steal sheep. This was punishable by death, so when they were caught they would say that they went there to duck the sheep, which was not punishable by death. Benjamin Franklin published an essay entitled Fart Proudly, a tongue-in-cheek treatise promoting the health benefits of farting, and how to make farts smell better, in 1781 while he was the U.S. ambassador in France. Peter the Great scoured the Russian Empire in search of dwarfs and giants in an effort to breed a race of each. While he couldn't find enough giants, he found many dwarfs. He would bake a huge pie and have a dwarf get naked and wait inside it to jump out and scare guests. In addition to using them as regular stewards and servants and such. That was the tip of Peter's crazy. John Harvey Kellogg, one of the Kellogg brothers who invented breakfast cereal, advocated for sewing silver wire through boys' foreskin to prevent them from masturbating. Strange fellow. When Marie Antoinette was imprisoned by the French citizens, they took her kids. Then they had her oldest son buy prostitutes so that he would contract their STDs. They then tried to use this as grounds to try her for abusing her children. The accusations went nowhere. So the poor kid was given a ton of venereal diseases for nothing. Edit, spelled Marie Antoinette's name wrong. Edit 2, holy duck, so many upvotes. Also, to those who are asking my source, I read it on Wikipedia. I went back to try and get a more detailed source. Wikipedia's source was Nagel, Susan, 2009. Marie-Therese, The Fate of Marie Antoinette's Daughter. London, Bloomsbury Publishing. p. 137. ISBN 978-0-7475-9666-0. Hope this helps anybody who is curious. JFK cheated on his wife and was a super sex addict. Dude ducked a lot of women, even saying if doesn't have sex 3 times a day he gets headaches. The ancient Greeks were super gay. I mean really mega super gay. My history teacher said calling them gay isn't accurate. They were omnisexual. Men, women, goats, plants if the mood struck them, and minerals when there wasn't anything else around. The US had a eugenics program into the 70s that sterilized thousands of women, mostly black/poor. They would often do this under the guise of an emergency appendectomy post-birth. A woman gave birth to a baby and didn't know why she could never have children after. She was able to receive damages. Look up Buck v. Bell. Edit, and from others reminders, Native American women were targeted too, unsurprisingly. Aside from targeting groups, women deemed mentally unfit, ill, morally inferior, or too low of IQ were included in this. Johnny Appleseed didn't go around planting apple seeds just because. He sold the trees to settlers and they used the apples to make booze. Tasty apples are a mutation, and apples trees used to make edible apples don't come from seeds, they come from grafting other tasty apple trees. Lyndon Johnson was known for pulling out his pecker during meetings, which he named No Kidding Jumbo. I always thought he missed a good thing by not naming it LBJ Lyndon's Big Johnson. Egyptians also had a priestess called the God's Wife whose job was to perform 6 acts on a statue of a deity. Pancho Villa and his buddies would go through cities and they would kidnap the cute ladies, and they would never be seen again. In preparation for this, the ladies would go to the mud and appear to be very filthy so they wouldn't be taken away. They took my grandmother's aunt. In early Japan, high-class Japanese often had boys/men on the side they would use for pleasure. It wasn't seen as gay or wrong because that concept hadn't been imported from the West yet. They were considered a mistress and were usually well taken care of. I'm posting the exact same thing every time this comes up. Unit 731 and the Comfort Women/Sex Slaves. Excerpt from one of those Sex slaves' diary. You will be treated good if you dedicate yourself to the emperor. I was forced to have sex with 10-15 soldiers every night. Then I got pregnant, but they removed my uterus with fetus, because they thought I was still usable. On August 27th, a soldier with a sword asked, "Who can serve 100 soldiers?" 15 girls who didn't raise their hands were killed as an example to the rest of the girls. Soldiers took a naked woman by her head and feet, and rolled her on a board with nails protruding out. Blood spurted and flesh dangled on the board. Soldiers boiled the dead girl's head, and forced other girls to drink that soup. On December 1, 1933, an officer killed a girl by stabbing a metal stick in her womb. On February 4, one girl had heated iron stick brutally shoved in her womb and died immediately just because she didn't notify to the officers that she had syphilis and eventually transferred it to one of them. After her death, there was burnt flesh left on the red heated iron stick. Soldiers covered girls' whole body with tattoos by intending to kill them in the first place. One Chinese man saw those girls being thrown away by the Japanese soldiers. After they were gone, he rescued 2 girls who were barely alive, and nursed them for 2 months.